Hey everyone, James Millard here with Olympic Peninsula Skagit Tactics, and today I am going to be tying a hobo spay. The hobo spay is a great fly. It's one I fish summer and winter. It's a pretty older pattern by Charles St. Pierre. He came up with the idea of having this fly. It's really cool. It's simple to tie. You can tie it in any color you want. Summer steelhead time is coming around. We've already got some good numbers and some decent and some of the decent rivers around the west coast. So that's why we're going to be tying this fly for today. I tie it a little bit different. I don't do a fully dubbed body like it calls for. I use a tag and then a butt and then a shoulder, but it's a pretty effective fly. I tie it in every color you can think of, from red to purple to black and white to black and yellow, all sorts of stuff. So it really produces, and it's something you should probably have in your box. So kick back and relax and watch me tie up my version of the hobo spay. Okay, folks, so let's get started on our hobo spay. We are going to be tying on an OPST return eye shank, trimmed down to 3 centimeters, around two and a half, 3 centimeters. Start my thread moving down the fly, laying a nice base of thread for my trailing hook, and I'm using Fireline and an OPST swing hook, size 4. This is a summer steelhead fly, so there'll be some trout bycatch on this. Fish aren't as big, so I've got my fire line and my hook. I'm going to tie about a shank's length, maybe a little less of a shank's length of wire hanging out the back, of fire line hanging out the back. Shorten that up just a tad where I like it, keeping it oriented on the top so it'll ride straight. And I'm satisfied with that. I'm going to run my thread down, attaching wraps as much as possible. We're going to be using a tinsel body, so little departure from how Charles St. Pierre's original hobo was a dub body. I feel like this sinks a little better the way I tie it. That's just me, though. I could be totally wrong. That's just my scientific wild ass guess. But I put a butt of Mirage Tinsel, which I'll be tying in soon. I ran my thread up to the return eye, bending my fire line back, tying back down the other side, get it oriented where you need it, and then start wrapping it back. I trim it a little early, like right now. And folding this back this way and applying cement is the way to go. I don't have cement with me, so it's just going to be wrapped back. Bring your thread up to the return eye again. Large Mirage Tinsel from UTC. Good stuff. Has a little bit of flex to it, so it'll wind on pretty well. I've kept that body pretty smooth underneath. That's a prerequisite for tying with floss or tinsel or whatever. I'm being a little reckless with my thread wraps, but this UTC tinsel is forgiving. So now I'm just going to tie a butt in with this. Bring it all the way back to the hook. Run yourself back up in front of the return eye. You're going to cover it with this tinsel. Wind this tinsel forward, touching wraps. Don't want any gaps here. If it wasn't in the mail and on its way to me, I would be putting a layer of hardest hull penetrator on that to shore it up. But this is a demonstration fly. I'll still fish it. It just won't be quite as durable as it could be. Tying that off. Now it's time to pick a guinea feather. The guinea is what's holds up the marabou in the front. I'm tying a purple fly, so I've got some cool purple lilac. It's actually called Guinea, so I'm going to pick a nice long feather out of here. Some guys will go out and buy jumbo Guinea just because they like to wrap it forward, but I don't wrap as much Guinea on as some folks, so I don't get too picky with the big jumbo versus regular Guinea. I have a Guinea skin, so when I do personal flies that are black and white, I pull off that, and the rest of the time I'm using this Nature Spirit Guinea. It's pretty darn good. Has a good blend of feathers in here, and if you don't like what the fly looks like when you're done wrapping this around, you can always put a collar. I may even put a collar on in front to help prop stuff up. I'm using Hairline Sensuous Fusion dubbing here next. The Muppet, it's called. It's just a cool purple. Dubbing it directly onto the thread. I don't have any wax either. Stuff's in the mail, so I will just get by without some wax on my thread. This UTC is a little, I'm sorry, the Semperfly Nano Thread 18-aught is a little slippery, but it'll work. Got a nice dubbing noodle. Covering your tie-in point and wind forward. Right about there. I'm going to take my hackle and fold it back. Fold back the stems on each side by scissor folding. I wish I had my hackle pliers. My stem's a little thin on the top. But just wind this through the body now. It's going to look a little messy for a minute until we're able to stroke everything back. But there you have it. This is going to prop up your marabou very well, I might add. Very well, I might add. So pick a good feather. Tie it in. I like the way this looks. I don't think I'll need to add a collar. If you feel like that's a little too sparse, you only get 1 or 2 turns in that little hat and that little dubbing ball, then add another feather and palmer a few wraps in the front, and it'll fill it up and give you enough prop. But I think I have enough. From there, I've got this Fish Hunter Spay Maribou. This stuff is pretty decent. I got a purple one. I'm going to tie it in by the tip. So get that going here. Maribou just moves so well in the water. These summer fish really respond to the maribou, I think. And then if you can't beat it for its color profiles, like you get a purple maribou, it's purple. So my maribou is tied in. I'm going to fold the hackles back again with the edge of my scissors. And then we're just going to palmer this forward. Nice, easy wraps. These are touching wraps. There, one right in front of the other, just barely, with a little bit of space, I'd say, but not too much. Kind of coax everything backwards as you wrap. You spend a lot of time getting to this point. You don't want to get sloppy here and wrap all your hackles together. So that is good. Tied up on the top. Now we're just about done. We have to add 2 more things to make this a hobo spay in my eyes, and that's Amherst and some flash. I'll actually add some jungle cock too, but I've got this white lady Amherst, pretty good stuff. I believe this is the fish hunter, or not fish hunter, I'm sorry, nature spirit as well. Pull off a little hank, and you know, some people put 6, 7, a bunch of fibers all the way around this fly. I do 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. That's all I do. It just makes it easier, I think. I don't get too crazy with tying them in. You can. They have a natural cant to them. You can fight with them all you want. The water does what it's going to do to them afterwards. So all that work and fighting, you're going to get these things to cant the right way. Gets undone. So it's just best to tie them in as you know, nicely as you can. We don't want this to look like a pile, but you know, kind of work with your fingers here to get them split properly. Trim our butts. I have a rotary vise, so I just flip it over. You can just flip your fly over, tie them in on the bottom, however you can. It's best to have the fly oriented bottom side up. But just about done here. Yeah, I like that placement. They're going to wiggle and move around in the water, which is cool, and they're going to sort of cant their own direction after they've been wet and swung a few times. Now, normally I'm accidentally crowding the head on this fly. Normally I would make sure I was a little bit more careful and leave about a bodkin's width of shank in the front of this fly, so you could add a turtle knot to get this fly to ride hook point up. I tie it on a loop knot and let it dance around a bit, and I find that that's just as effective. But I did crowd the head a tad, unfortunately. Next, we're going to add some flash. I've got this mirrored hollow flash, I think it's called. Tie a piece on the top. And then we're going to tie a piece on the bottom. There we go. Get this tied down. And I'm just tying it in on one side, folding it over, and tying it down the other side. That's it. So technically, this is a completed hobo spay. Trim your flash. I trim my flash sort of even with the Amherst. Just seems to work out better that way for me. that could be your completed fly. I'm going to add some jungle cock to this, but not right now. We'll go ahead and finish this off at the head. A whip finish, and that's a completed hobo for summer steelhead fishing. I use this quite a bit. We'll come through the run with the skater, and then come through the run with one of these on a sink tip, and you know, we feel like we've really covered the water well at that point. So you can tie this in any color you want. I chose a purple one because I'm going to fish purple a bit this early summer for early summer fish. But you know, black and purple works great. Black and blue. Any color combo you can think of that you like, kind of throw it in here and get going on it. So hope you liked it. Thanks, guys.